What do you normally look for? Like, what are the qualities that you look in? You know, a woman, if you're going to spend any time with her on a long term basis beyond just like a plate status, or somebody that becomes an FWB in your life, and you may call her girlfriend, you may not, whatever. Maybe it goes in any number of directions. But what do you typically look for in women when you're trying to vet them for? Hey, listen, you're an athlete, you made a lot of money, you're a good looking guy, you're tall, like you tick off every box that chicks are looking for, generally speaking. So what do you look for?
Yeah, it's real. I got to be honest with you. It's really hard this day and age for guys like me, because I believe marriage, and a lot of, most women know what I've done in the past. So it's kind of hard to know what they're really after. So you really, really got to be careful.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think one of the most important things for me is, does she have a strong family background? Does she have a good father? To me, that's really huge. Does she have a good mother? I mean, was she grown up in a great family environment? Because I feel like women that I've dated, they're train wrecks. They typically are. Dads beat them or abuse them or left them. Mom's a drug addict. You just don't.
Do you see a lot of daddy issues in Southern California?
I mean, I would say in the last 5 years I've been divorced, 60% of the women I've taken out have had daddy issues. And
yeah, I found the same thing here in Toronto, dude. It's like, you sit down, it's like, they hate their father. They won't talk to their father. Like any one of those, their father abused their mother, or their father ran off on them when they were a kid. It's like, well, hold on a sec, sweetheart. Like, you sure about that? You sure maybe mom didn't push him out of the house? Like, did he really run off on you? Like, have you kind of dug into this one? Right. Just to see if they've done some work, right? Like, that's one of the things that I look for.
Yeah, 1000%. And, there's got to be a level of confidence there that she has, and not boss bitch confidence. I can't stand that bullshit.
But, boss girl, hashtag boss girl, buddy. Come on, sign up for that, man.
Like boss bitch.
Don't you want to come home to a disagreeable woman after a hard day's work, bro?
Right. I want dinner on the table. I want you to have your feminine energy at home. I'll bring my masculine energy home, and then we can really have some fun. But when a woman's trying to outdo the man masculinity wise and trying to bring home the bacon, it doesn't work. And I feel like the gender roles in today's society have been reversed. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, Rich, I believe in marriage, 1920s, 1930s, when that fucking meant something. Women loved being at home. They took pride in being at home and raising the kids, while the man went out and provided for the family.
They stayed for any and all reasons back then, dude. There was really no divorce.
Absolutely. And now we live in a society now where women are like being empowered by radical feminists to go out there and work. Men are getting kicked in the balls to be staying home. And what's happening is you have all these, like, like I said, the roles are reversing, and it's easy for a woman now to just bolt in a marriage if things get hard. They don't want to work, because all they have to do is say, you know what? I don't really want to work on this. This guy's rich as shit. And then their friends get in their ears and they're thinking, well, you know what, honey, if he's treating you like shit, you deserve better. Take half his shit, go away. And they're instant millionaires. So
I have a little story in my book about that. I know you read it, but it's like, I was sitting in Starbucks, and this chick was basically told by her best friend, like, I can take half his shit and not have to put up with this dumbass too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was like,
and until
why would you sign up for that?
Yeah, I mean, like, until that changes in the court system,
unfortunately, it's not going to anytime. We're never going to see it.
The rate's going to go higher and higher.
In our lifetime, I don't see that changing. I don't like. It's going to take women getting together, ripping off the pink pussy hats, throwing them away, burning them, and saying, you know what, ladies, let's go march on Capitol Hill for the guys today. Let's change the marriage law so they're not hostile towards fathers, right? Like, that's what it's going to take.
Well, I don't necessarily. I do blame them, but I blame more the white knight beta cup bitches that are like the males.
Well, they reinforce it.
Yeah, that they're the guys there at the rallies for these feminists, holding the signs, and that gives these women a sense of like, oh, guys are with us. Those aren't men.
Yeah,
those are not men. Those are.
They don't want to bang those guys.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, so it's definitely, like, you talk about a high value man, and I say this to my friends all the time. I tell people, listen, there is no reason for a high value man in today's society to ever get married. Never.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
it's unfortunate, but that's the reality of it, right? I mean, if you've got half a brain in your head,
you have everything to lose and nothing to gain.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, if you want to have kids, have kids. If you want to have, like for me, I want a life partner. I would love a life partner at some point, right? Right now, I'm kind of enjoying my freedom. And if she comes along, great. That's awesome. But we have to complement each other, right? She's got to have some kind of brains on her. She's got to have some kind of dreams for herself to where she's not latching on to me 24/7, texting me 10 times a day. I need space. I'm an independent guy and I don't need you around all the time. So that's hard to find too, Rich. Like there's so many insecure women out there that think just because I don't text her back in the next 2 hours,
Right.
holy shit, it's like a fucking crate. It's unbelievable. Like I'm sorry, I was working out.
They have a complete spaz, right? Like a big meltdown.
Yeah, it's so that's a red flag right there.
Let me ask you this question. So I got a couple of notes here that I dropped in the description. So let me run. This is what I think high value men should seek as far as qualities in women: femininity, awareness, and awareness in the sense where I don't expect women to take ownership for many of the things that they do. I mean, some guys want women to take ownership for being hypergamous, right? And cheating on them. It's like, well, dude, like I talked to this guy a couple of weeks ago, Huff, who was a young man. He was about 20, 23, 24. And, you know, he was going out drinking with his stepbrother, and his stepbrother got drunk, passed out on the floor, puked all over himself. And his wife started chatting up this other guy. And he's like, you know, I just can't trust women. It's like, dude, okay, put yourself in her shoes for a sec, right? You know, if you're going to be a passed out loser drunk on the floor and this guy becomes, you know, her better option, it doesn't matter that she's married. Hypergamy does not fucking care, right? So I'm talking about some level of awareness, not ownership. I'm talking about some level of awareness as far as the masculine feminine roles and taking a little bit of ownership and putting some investment into herself on any areas in her past that need to be dealt with. Guys are really, really good at wanting to do the work. Not all will execute on it, but I wish that more men that are on the top shelf looking for women would look for women with some level of awareness. The other thing that I said, following that up, was ownership, maturity in the sense that they don't have a hissy fit. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you don't text her back within, you know, her 2-hour time frame in her head, and then she has a complete meltdown over you. That's like a level of maturity that you expect out of some women by a certain age, right? I mean, like a 12-year-old, I expect to throw a hissy fit, you know, from time to time. So there's maturity. Class, I mean, it speaks for itself. She doesn't show up with like a big, you know, jail tat on her shoulder when you take her out to a classy event and she's wearing an evening dress. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Beauty, obviously, you know, fertility cues, boobs, hips, you know, bum, a compliment to a man's life. And essentially, I watched a Coach Red Pill video the other day, and I haven't watched very many of his stuff lately, but it popped in my feed, and he was talking about what to look for in women, and he basically boiled it down to a cheerleader, and I have to agree with him. I think that you want a woman that is your cheerleader. You know, she's got your back. So those are the main ones that I thought that men should seek. Is there anything there that you look for, you know, beyond that, or is there anything that you would cross off that list?
Well, you know, I think, no, I love all that, but I think, you know, like I'll take my marriage, for example. I was married 11 years. And when I had the baseball gear on, I was making 10 million a year. I'm coming home every night. My wife at the time, I'd come home at 11 o'clock at night and she'd be in lingerie, just fresh out of the shower, wet, ready to just fuck the shit out of me every night. Right. Mm-hmm. I was the alpha. I was the guy, and I knew it, and I felt it. I was confident, and I knew when I came home, she was going to be that way. And I knew she wanted me. You could just see.
Dude, you're making $10 million a year. You're a jacked athlete, and you've probably got rings at this point, or on your way to getting rings, right?
Right. And it's just, I knew that was going to happen. So obviously, as a man, your confidence level is huge. You know, and you feel like a man, and she's treating you like one. I was being treated like one. And that made me feel fucking great. I was excited to go home. And then I retired. And then I made the mistake. I wish I had your book of going, okay, you know, honey, I'm done. I'm retired. Why don't you go live your dreams? I'm going to go every day, take the kids to school. I'll go grocery shopping. I'll do the laundry. I just want you to work on you. And so essentially I was doing all these things every day for months on end.
So you actually tried to beta-tize yourself by making yourself less so she could become more.
Yeah. I baited myself. And that's why I'm so passionate about not to other men not to do that.
Yeah.
And I started feeling less of a man. I started feeling like a caged fucking lion, bro. And I started getting depressed. I started resenting her because I felt less of a man. And it really wasn't her fault. I had done it to myself. And I could see her energy towards me kind of back away. I got to the point where I was starting to have to beg for sex.
Yep.
And I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
That's when the clock is ticking down to the end of that relationship.
She started getting into fitness really big time.
Oh, yeah.
And then she started going out with her friends till 4 a.m. I'm like,
we gotta have a ladies' night, Aubrey. Gotta have a ladies' night, bro.
I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on? And before you know it, I'm like pissed off because I'm tired of begging for sex. We get in a big fight. I move out. We get separated for a while. It eventually leads to a divorce. And I look back at it now. I'm like, fuck, I did that to myself. Yep. Right? I didn't put her. What would you talk about frame? Yeah. Right? I put this ridiculous frame around myself as a bitch at home doing woman's work. That's not attractive to a female.
Nope.
And as I look back at it now, I realize my mistake. And that's why I'm so passionate now about what you guys are doing and what I dabble a little bit in what you guys do, but not like you guys do. And that's why I kind of opened up this new company, Alpha American Apparel, because I want guys to know you can never stop being alpha, because the minute you stop, you're no longer desired by a woman.